All right, in this video, we're talking about the final episode of Star Trek Picard. There are spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, watch it and come back after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. Your guilt must have saved planets is one of the best lines in this episode of pretty good acting and pretty good storytelling. I have to say that for all of the problems that I have had with the slow movement of this season, and I still think there probably were too many filler episodes, it all came together very well in this one episode. It's almost as if they wrote it backwards. They decided how they're going to solve it and then put it together the other way. And I say that because there's some things that we could have predicted. For instance, we were fairly certain after he met Teresa that Rios probably was not going to want to go back. And what does he have for him? He could be a ship's captain, but he really didn't have any family. He really didn't have any connections. His whole La Serena experience was by himself with a number of holograms that looked like him. He claimed at the beginning of the series last season that that was just the way it came equipped. But the fact of the matter is they showed this season that you can make a hologram of just about anything to be one of the emergency programs. So it's not a surprise that Rios decided to stay behind. Also not a surprise of the reveal with Agnes. She also was alone. And I think that's kind of the theme of the whole episode, if not the series, was this feeling of being alone. Even Q was concerned about dying alone. Picard has pushed people away and is alone. We had Corey, who was alone, and also 7 of 9, who was isolated from everyone else, although she had a potential partner in Raffi that she seemed to push her away. All of these people are hurt due to things that are connected to the past, almost what Q said at the beginning. You all are prisoners of your past. And he had some good lines in here, including one that was very short, where at the end Picard says to him, "Why?" And Q says, "Complete your sentence." And in completing his sentence, of course, he explains that Picard was the closest thing that he had to family, to a friend, and he wanted to help him with his problem before he had to leave this plane of existence. And his final words, "See you out there," resonate. And I think that was a wonderful way to write off Q. The other characters got their due as well. Of course, Rios gets to live happily ever after. Guinan explains why she didn't recognize Picard. It was actually just an act. She has also pointed out that she is kept up with Rios and Teresa and her son, and what they have done in recent years, and the kind of closure that we've been looking for this entire season has come all at once, and they managed to make it and make it work. Sung is probably the only one that ends badly here, but his motives were pretty bad to begin with. So it's just as well that he's left in a wrecked laboratory with blank computers looking over a file called Khan Project, an Easter egg. Khan, of course, was a product of genetic engineering, although it was done perhaps a decade or more before this episode would have taken place. So I don't know if that was suggesting that he had a hand in creating this race of supermen that took over the Earth in the 90s, or if they've retconned it to be in the mid-2000s, who knows. At any rate, it seems that they tie in Sung as a person that was dealing with this particular project that caused essentially World War III. Then we have Agnes, who we thought, how are they going to free her from the Borg Queen? And we find out that also not a big surprise that she was the one behind the mask. The reason they had a mask there was mainly for our purposes, not anyone else's, just to keep from showing us who the Borg Queen really was. Although we had that figured out, and I think a lot of people did before it happened, that that was what was going to be the case. And we know from the most recent episode where before the Agnes Queen takes the ship, that she is perhaps convinced to do more good than destruction. And as Borg Queens exist in multiple planes, time does not make the same kind of progression with the Borg Queen. Therefore, she is immediately changed in the present day and will be a guardian of a new warp conduit or transwarp conduit. So these kind of things, it also looks like it's setting up for next season. There must be something that comes through that conduit that's going to threaten the galaxy, and so that'll give Picard some reason to stay on the Stargazer, perhaps. That is a guess in that part. Seven, who had said that she didn't join Starfleet because she tried to and they turned her down, discriminating against Borg. Perhaps there's a different outlook now. She sees what her capabilities are that go beyond her Borg implants. And with the field promotion that Picard gives her, perhaps she has the confidence to actually take that step. We see Elnor on the Excelsior, a Easter egg there that the Excelsior is still working into the late 24th, early 25th century. And we see the resolution not only of Q but of Picard, that he has faced now the situation with his mother, that it wasn't his fault, that he is worthy of being loved by someone, and it causes him to go back home and try and start a relationship, if it's still possible, with his Romulan friend. I've forgotten her name now. At any rate, this is something that does not resolve in this episode, but you can see that there's a beginning to it, and it's good writing not to just wrap everything up too neatly. We also see what happens with Raffi, that she and Seven apparently are going to start a relationship, and the galaxy is saved once again thanks to Picard. So there's another, and the thing that I didn't even think about was what was going to happen to Kore. She is wandering away. She's left Sung's Palm Springs mansion and is just walking the road, and coming into the frame is an old friend. And what's interesting about this is first she thinks that he's Q, and he says that he's not, and then explains how all of this ties together, that the Watchers, the Travelers, and the Corinne, Gary Seven, and all those people were all tied into the same project. And she's all alone, and she is invited to join Wesley and the others. And I know talking about not having Wesley in season 3, I thought that they were doing him a great injustice. We now understand what they had in mind for him, and he played a great part. He played it perfectly, and it was nice to see him in that. That he has spanned the original series to the Picard series. I think it's a fitting framing of his character from way back then, and not bad on Picard. My wife said after we saw it that this would be a good place to end the series because it's such a good ending. Could they top this, even with all of the original Enterprise crew, sans Wesley, in the next season? I guess we'll have to see. But it was a good ending to kind of a so-so season. There were too many filler episodes, in my opinion, but they certainly tied it up very nicely. And while it was not completely resolved with everything, there was enough of it for a satisfying ending, and you can't ask for any better than that. I'd like to know what you think about this, and please put it in the comments. And of course, while you're there, why not subscribe if you haven't done so, and ring the bell so you know when the next video is coming your way. I have 3 of them this weekend. This one, we have a review of the first episode of Strange New Worlds, and we also will be talking about Where No Man Has Gone Before from the original series. So if any of that appeals to you, watch for the next Oldest Nerd video that will be coming, if not immediately, very soon. So until then, don't go far.